So, you've done it. You've felt that incredible electric pulse of Tokyo, and you've walked through the absolutely timeless streets of Kyoto. And now you're probably asking yourself, all right, what's next? Where do I go to find a deeper connection to the real soul of Japan? Well, today, we're going to explore an answer that just might surprise you. We're talking about Aichi Prefecture.
Okay, let's just get this out of the way right now. Aichi's capital, Nagoya, has for a long time been stuck with this pretty unfortunate reputation. But that's a really superficial take. It comes from expecting every big city in Japan to be just like the two giants, Tokyo and Kyoto. And as we're about to find out, that perception completely, and I mean completely, misses the point. So here's our game plan. We're going to totally dismantle that boring label. We'll do it by redefining what luxury travel even means, exploring some mind-blowing design and food, and showing you how to become a real patron of Japanese culture. This is our roadmap to a hidden Japan.
Right. Let's jump into that reputation. What if being called boring isn't a weakness at all? What if it's actually its greatest strength? What if the very thing people think is a flaw, the lack of crowds, is exactly what makes Aichi so special?
Think about it like this. Sometimes, the big tourist hubs can feel a little bit like they're putting on a show for visitors. Aichi, though, it hasn't been overpackaged for tourism. What you get here is the real thing. It's the genuine, vibrant pulse of a major Japanese region, doing its thing. It's an authentic experience that's been preserved precisely because it's been flying under the radar.
And that authenticity, well, it's the perfect doorway into a totally different kind of travel. It's a concept we're calling intelligent luxury. And I want you to forget everything you think about luxury. Forget the flashy brands, forget the big price tags. This is about something so much deeper. See, intelligent luxury is all about engaging your mind. It's about understanding the why behind what you're seeing and touching and tasting. You stop being just a consumer and you start actively engaging with the culture that's all around you. It's a total shift in mindset. We can really break this down into 3 core ideas. First, you connect with the philosophy of the artist or the chef. You understand their vision. Second, you get to experience the real, authentic materials and the centuries-old techniques they're using. And third, and this is the best part, you get to satisfy that deep curiosity about how and why things are made the way they are. This is the lens we're going to use to look at Aichi.
So, where can we actually see this whole philosophy in action? Well, it starts the second you check in. In Aichi, the best hotels aren't just a place to crash for the night. No, they are a fundamental part of the story. Just look at these 2 incredible but very different approaches. You've got the Tiad, which creates this biophilia nest. It's this serene, beautiful oasis of nature right in the city that even got a Michelin key. But then you have the Nikko style, which is basically a living, breathing gallery. The patterns in the carpet are based on local arimatsu tie-dyeing, and you're drinking your morning coffee out of custom-made Mino-ware mugs. Your hotel stay itself becomes an adventure of discovery.
And this deep-rooted cultural philosophy, it doesn't stop at your hotel room. It follows you all the way to the dinner plate. Aichi's food scene is absolutely world-class, and it's all supported by this fascinating ecosystem of craftsmanship. You're not just eating a meal here, you're tasting a philosophy.
I mean, the caliber of dining here is just undeniable. We're talking 2 3-star restaurants, including Sushi Ueda, an incredibly intimate 6-seat counter where you're eating local seafood off of antique pottery. And then you have these amazing innovators like Reminiscence, with its whole concept of memory and resonance, or the self-taught maverick chef at La Vagabonde. But these stars, they're just the canopy of a much deeper forest.
The roots of all this culinary greatness, they run deep. This quote from the legendary Kuheiji Sake Brewery, it just captures the incredible ambition behind the products that these top chefs are using. It's not just about making a drink for them, it's about forging a global cultural connection. Right, these Michelin stars don't just appear out of nowhere. They are propped up by producers like Kuheiji, who literally revolutionized sake by applying the French wine concept of terroir to it. And then there's Kaku-Kyu, which has been making hacho miso since 1645 by fermenting it for 2 years under 3 tons of river stones. Think about that. A single meal here connects you to centuries of history.
And this brings us to the absolute peak of the intelligent luxury experience in Aichi. This is where you get to completely transform your role. You go from being a passive observer to an active participant, and maybe even a patron of Japan's living traditions, the spirit they call Monozukuri.
It's a powerful three-step journey. You start by observing a master artisan at work, maybe in a private setting. Then, you participate. You get your own hands dirty in a workshop, you feel the materials, you learn the technique for yourself. And then, the final, most amazing step, you become a patron. You commission a bespoke piece of art that helps carry that tradition forward.
And look, this is not just some theory. You can actually go to Tokoname, one of Japan's 6 ancient kiln sites, and learn from potters who work in the tradition of a living national treasure. Or you could visit Aramatsu, which has a 400-year-old tie-dyeing tradition, learn from a master, and then commission your very own custom indigo yukata. You don't just see the culture, you become part of its living story.
So when you put this all together, what does a journey like this actually look like? Well, it's really less of a tour and more of a personal story, an experience that is uniquely and completely yours.
And that ultimately is why Aichi is so important. It's the perfect destination for the intellectually curious traveler, the person who's already seen the iconic sites and is now looking for something more. It's for those of us who aren't just content with the highlights anymore. We're searching for the very soul of Japanese ingenuity and art. It really is the next chapter in your story with Japan.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Anybody can buy a souvenir, but a trip like this, it lets you bring home a story, a personal connection to a craft, to a philosophy, to a taste. So the real question isn't what you'll buy, it's what story will you choose to create.